Hello, hello. Zack Miller here. Hope you're doing awesome. So, I was on a 1 hour drive northwest last night and was with a friend, with someone who I'm not going to name their name because I don't have to, but they'll know who they are. His name's Gary, actually. And you guys should actually check out his networking tool, Past Zero. But this is not a message paid for by them. However, he asked me a question, and I really respect Gary. He just got out of the Navy after 30 years and has built a networking tool to help people better their social scenarios when they meet someone so that they can remember that person and some of the conversations that they had at a later time. Okay, enough of the plug. But I've been working with him a lot, and he asked me a question last night, and I actually said, wow, that's a good question. I have to think about that. And the question was something, and by the way, normally, as the best interviewer in the world, I'm not usually shocked, but it was worded in a way that I was like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm proud of this guy for asking a good question. So basically, the question was, what's something like 11 years ago that you learned that really helped you out? And I gave him a few answers. One of them is that 80% can get you super seen and a lot done. So I don't try to be perfect. We've talked about that before, where I don't try to be perfect because I think so many people try to be perfect, and I will just get 80% done, just keep going. For example, he was like, oh, but when you're doing, your podcast and your live shows, people don't notice when you mess up. I was like, no, I mess up all the time, and this is a raw video. It's intentionally raw for this concept, saying it doesn't have to be perfect. I probably could have another light right in front of me, right? I could probably make sure that some of the posters are hanging up, that I have a fourth Ninja Turtle, or all these things that don't really matter. What matters is that the whatever the core of that content is getting to that person. But then I said something when I start to actually fall in love with something, I go all in on that thing. So growing up, when the internet was young, I was super into roller coasters. So I would go to a bunch of amusement parks. I would post on forums. I would become a roller coaster expert, and people knew me as that roller coaster guy. When I got into college, I don't know, did college things. College is a bad example. Actually, towards the end. So when I wanted to get into journalism, I became super focused on that. I would follow and watch videos of people myself, record stuff, try and do as much stuff as possible. And I went all in on that. Now, business world, I'm super obsessed with that. I do a lot of research. I push out a lot of things, things meaning content. And I just constantly am trying to become the best in the world at what I love at that time, right? And if you think about it, I still am one of the best roller coaster people in the world, but I probably am not. But number two, think about that, is for me, it's right now I want people to be like, man, this guy is this, right? This guy is the author of Anomaly. So this guy is seen everywhere. And that's something that I really want people to think. So that's why consistency is important. That's why doing a daily weekday video is important. And so I got on another client friend, Chris Lyons' feed the other night. He was on the Bulletproof show with Jared, and I've been on his show before. But Chris said something that's really important. I had not seen Chris in probably 6 months, 8 months. But he said, man, I see Zach everywhere. Every time I'm on Facebook, I see him there. It's exactly what I'm trying to do. I want people to see me every day, so then it becomes synonymous with their days. And then when I have value to provide them, or catchy, see there, I messed up right there. I didn't know what to say. Most people would have taken that and been like, oh, I need to stop the video, do this. No, I just rolled with the punches and said, figure it out, Zach, and do it. That's something that I've learned. And that's something that's important. I don't stress about that. I don't worry about that. Why? Because it really doesn't matter. And I want people to be genuine. I want people to realize that, hey, the world isn't just 100% beautiful. It's raining today. Oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? It's gonna rain. It's gonna be wet. I'm gonna have to go a little slower. Use your windshield wipers. Whatever. See, I'm off. I'm off. This is on tangent. This is a rant. This doesn't matter. My point is this: just roll with the freaking punches. Okay. So until you forget what you were talking about, um, so fall in love with what you do. Absolutely fall in love with what you do, and then do things associated with that so that people will remember who you are tied to that name. So over the course of this show, I've been saying, what do you do? Who are you? Right? And then I'll say, who do your following, who do your customers, your prospects, your friends think you are? And if those do this and are two fists hitting each other instead of gelling or they're matching, you need to start focusing on what you want people to think of you as in the things that you do. So if I'm sitting here talking about shoes and people think I'm a shoe guy, there's a word for that, but I hate shoes. But for some reason, one time I talked about shoes, I'm off brand, right? What do I want people to think about me? I want people to think that I can help them in their business lives, their careers. I want them to think that I am the author of Anomaly, future majority amusement park owner, and someone who has a weekday Facebook Live show, best interview in the world, all these little things. So all these little tangents, they're probably not tangents, just little pieces of me that together will be who I am. I just got a request saying to start over. I'm not going to start over. However, I will say this. So basically, the moral of this story, and actually I don't know if it's a moral of the story, it's just what I said. But the concept of the whole thing behind the theme of this story is that I got this question by Gary Locke, Past Zero, last night on the way to Williamsburg. And he said, what did you learn 11 years ago? And I don't know that I actually learned it 11 years ago, but I just thought of this answer. And so the answer is basically, oh, there's Gary right there. Imagine that. I learned that when I love something, I kind of go all in on those things, right? And so right now it's about helping people, right? It's not about this video. It's not about going live every day. That's just a vehicle. What's the ultimate goal is to help people. That's it, right? Is it tied to business and things associated with people and their careers? 100%. But the most important thing is to be able to create material and content that people are looking for. And I look back and said, oh, when I loved roller coasters, I went all in on that. And everyone knew me as the roller coaster guy. And so the whole thing is this, is like when you find that thing, become the expert in that, make everyone think that's who you are. And what will happen is people will start saying, you are that person, right? So people look at me now, they're like, oh, that's the Anomaly guy, right? He can help people with positioning in their companies or figure out ways to stand out from the crowd. But again, the moral, the whole concept of this thing is, who are you? What do other people think about you? What do you love? And are you doing everything you can to let people know that you are that thing and that you will continue to learn on that forever and ever and ever? So whatever maybe like the key word, like what's the first word when someone says your name, right? So like if Christy Walker's husband is a blacksmith, he's the blacksmith guy. Everything that he does, not everything, a lot of the content needs to be around that. Gary, networking tool. Networking needs to be in the word of who is Gary, right? Zack, Anomaly, helps people be seen, stand out from the crowd. Make sense? Okay. So, in the comments, in a word or two, what is the keyword that you use to describe you? I want to know what it is. And then I am going to verify that what you're actually doing matches who you think you are. Have a wonderful weekend.